Hey guys, Eli here. What's going on? I am back for I haven't done one of these for a while. Tales from the Dollar Bin video. They were never very popular, but I always thought they were cool. At least like the guy that laughs at his own jokes, apparently. And what that is uh, stuff that I find for. It used to be a dollar or less, but now with inflation, I just $2 or less, somewhere around there. I've done it with, music, CDs, stuff like that. Now I'm doing it with DVDs and Blu-rays here. So this is actually, honestly, considering I paid $1 to $2 for most of these, this is an impressive stack. Probably, price-wise, this is probably the best score I've ever found. I couldn't believe I got some of this stuff so cheap. So, a lot of Blu-ray today. Some DVD because I still collect standard DVD. I have no problem with it, but. For me, quite a bit of Blu-ray here, so let's get started. I think we'll start with the stack of stuff that I bought. I just picked this up from some friends of mine. They were just kind of slimming down things around their house and asked if I wanted these, and I said, of course I do. Yeah, so I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe not. Maybe this is it. Got some Blu-rays here, starting with, one of my semi-recent favorite movies, at least of the last... This is one of my favorite films of the last 5-10 years, easily. I think it's from 2018. Oh, shit, 2015. So, still, I love it. Bone Tomahawk. Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Matthew Fox, Richard Jenkins, and there's others. David Arquette makes an appearance. Sid Haig makes an appearance. This is great. This is a literal great film. If you haven't seen this, you need to. It's a Western... but it is not your typical Western by any means. It's got horror elements. I wouldn't really call this a horror movie, but there's definite horror elements. It's very brutal. There's one scene in particular that, people know this for, where it's just like, it's slasher movie material, but it's very extreme. Very, very extreme. It's like a Terrifier, like Art the Clown level brutality. It's awesome. This is written and directed by S. Craig Zoller, who is just one of the most underrated and best filmmakers out there right now. He's done a lot of stuff, both in film and music, and shit, he's written books even. The dude is just phenomenal. He's a total gem. Whether you like horror or westerns, check out Bone Tomahawk. Absolutely, it's so fucking good. And I already had this. I think I had 2 copies, so... I'm sending this over to my buddy Dave from That Metal Podcast. Dave, if you're watching this, maybe we can talk about this together in the future, because it's amazing. Then from 2000, one of my other favorites, American Psycho with Christian Bale, Willem Dafoe, a bunch of other people. I already own this, but I didn't have the Blu-ray, so now I do. I've watched this movie so many times. I saw it in the theater originally when it came out. I've said it before, I didn't quite understand it at the time. I was 17 years old. I didn't really know what to think of it. Years later, it just became one of my all-time favorite films. I personally think it's amazing. American Psycho. God, you've seen this, right? If you haven't, remedy that, please. Now, I'm not a fan of these former rentals. At least the ones, I think this came from Blockbuster. I can't remember for sure. The ones where they actually put rental on there. If it's just a standard, DVD or Blu-ray, but just put in a weird case or something like that. But when they actually put the rental on there, I don't really like having these in my collection. But like I said, I bought these as a lot from a friend. So, and I'd really been wanting to see this Crimson Peak, directed by one of my favorite people on this planet, Guillermo del Toro. Back in, what year did this come out? It's not too old, but it's been a while now. Man, I can barely read that print on the back. I don't know, 2016. 2016. Universal Studios. Interesting. Yeah, love Del Toro. Don't know actually a whole lot about this other than the fact that I've wanted to see it, and I've heard it's pretty good. So then I've got 3 seasons of Tales from the Crypt. This is a show that I've been wanting to rewatch for a long time. I've never seen all the episodes over the years. I remember this show while it was airing when I was a little kid. Watched a little bit of it back then, here and there, little bits and pieces, maybe an episode or 2. Didn't really fully get into this and well into my adult years, but always wanted to re-dive in or dive in deeper, because like I said, I've really only seen maybe 10 or 15 episodes over the years. So we got season 1. These are nice sets, just standard DVD. I'm sure you are well familiar with Tales from the Crypt. It was was it an HBO series back in the day? I can't remember. I can't even remember the years, the years that it ran initially. I definitely remember it being on cable. I thought it was HBO. Maybe it was Cinemax. Maybe it was none of those. I don't know. I'm not seeing it on the back here, but it doesn't matter. Season 3. And the episodes that I have seen, man, I couldn't even tell you like what seasons they were on. So it looks like for season 3 they went to a different format, or whatever they went to. The individual slim case DVDs. Just fine. I don't really care about that too much. Yeah, I can't wait to watch these. And then, unfortunately, there's a huge gap, but that's okay. I'll fill it in as I go. Season 7. Sorry, I can't tell you the years that these originally aired, but that's that's okay. This one says 96, so yeah, okay. So that means it would have started in the late 80s. Sounds about right. Can't wait to get the rest of the seasons. All right, now we are going on to. So I bought all these movies from a pawn shop. So I paid I think $1 to $2 for all of these. So start with the standard DVD. Here's one that I've been wanting to pick up for a while. Just hadn't found a reasonably priced copy. So $1 was very reasonable. Old Man, starring Stephen Lang. I love Stephen Lang. This was directed by Lucky McKee, a director who I really, really like. I figure if Stephen Lang's in it, you're at least going to get a movie with a really damn good performance. So this came out in 2021. I thought it was older than that, but it's not. 2021. Case is a little busted up, but that can be fixed. Anyone seen this? I haven't necessarily heard anything about it, but like I said, Stephen Lang, Lucky McKee, had to see it. Now here's one that I had never heard of. It's a Troma film, which, I mean, there's like 1,000 Troma films, literally. Probably, maybe there's more, I don't know, there's a lot. And this one really baffled me, because we all know Troma, especially me, for they're campy films, that's what they do. But this one looks like it's supposed to be like a sort of a serious film, which is okay. I didn't know they did anything like that. And I love how they're really pushing in that direction. Maybe they were wanting to break away. So it's called A Nocturne, which just sounds weird to me. Shouldn't have just have been called Nocturne, but A Nocturne. I don't know. It just seems weird. Look at the quote on this on the front. Perhaps the most perhaps the most wildly original and stunningly beautiful vampire film I have ever seen. Impress Magazine. I don't know anything about Impress Magazine, but look at that quote. I mean, does that sound like the description of a Troma film? Maybe it's really good. I feel like there's no way it could be good, but I don't know. Defined by the examples of such B-movie masters as John Rowland and Jess Franco. This came out in 2007. I don't know. Anyone heard of this or seen it? I'm definitely curious. Like I said, there's no goddamn way it could be good, but I don't know. Maybe. Then we have Renfield. As I've said a million times here, and I will say it a million more times, I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan, so it doesn't make sense how I haven't seen this yet, but I haven't. It just came out last year. I've heard really good things, almost completely positive things. I've heard some people were, at worst, the reviews that I've seen or read or shit that I've heard, at worst, it's an okay movie, but at best, it's a lot of fun. That's what I've heard, and it's gory and awesome. And I'm not a fan of Awkwafina. I wish she wasn't in this, but Nicolas Cage, yeah, seals the deal for me. Playing fucking Dracula, which is something he's always wanted to do. So you're getting a Nicolas Cage performance that obviously is going to be very inspired, and Nicholas Hoult is good as well. So yeah, Renfield. Can't wait to watch it. I just heard it's a blast. Now here's a throwback kind of blast from the past. I'm not a big anime fan, although I am liking anime more and more as I get older. But this is the first anime that I'd ever even heard of in the late 80s, early 90s, Vampire Hunter D. This is Bloodlust, one of the films made from the series. Let's see. For dates, it says 2001. I don't know if that's when the actual film was made or if that's just when this DVD was pressed. So Vampire Hunter D. That was a cool red case there. Vampire Hunter D was just a cool anime about a vampire hunter who has like a. It's been so. I mean, I haven't seen this show in probably 30 years. From what I remember, he's got like a hand that talks. It's got like a mouth and a face on the palm of his hand. It's like an entity of some sort. He hunts vampires. I don't know. I don't remember too much else. I just remember thinking it was just so damn awesome. It's a cult anime series to this day. It's like one of the most popular anime series of all time. And there's a lot of anime, so that is saying a hell of a lot. Then we have not the nicest copy I've ever seen, but not that bad. I just need to get this name scrubbed off with a magic eraser or something. We've got Cursed. Wes Craven film. I didn't have it in my collection. I'll buy anything Wes Craven. I love the man. I have so much respect for him. I miss him. But not all of his movies were great. And that's okay. This is kind of one of those, known projects where it didn't turn out the way that the director had intended. I believe, I've heard there's a director's cut floating around somewhere. Whether we'll get to see it or not, I don't know. But this came out back in, let's see, mid-90s, I think. I'm not seeing a date here. Mid-90s from what I remember. I remember when it came out. I mean, I love Christina Ricci. Love Wes Craven, like I said. Shannon Elizabeth's in this. It was written by Kevin Williamson, who went on to write some of I think the first 2 Scream films. So, yeah, it's a werewolf movie. I actually don't remember if I've ever seen it. I think I have. If I do, or if I did, I don't really remember it too well. So it needs a rewatch. And in preparation for Dune 2, I do plan on watching that. But I still haven't seen the first Dune. Now I have it. Got it for $1. Excited to dive into this universe. I have before. I have, the 80s Dune. I have that. I've had that in my collection for a long time, and I do enjoy it. I mean, I'm a big David Lynch fan, so that helps a little bit. But I think the movie is, I don't know, it's got a reputation for being just kind of wildly awful. I don't really see it that way. I think it's cool. I like it. I also have one of the mini-series that they did back in the early 2000s. I haven't got around to watching that, but I need to finally watch this. I feel like I have a task, like a chore to do, because I have to watch this, near 3-hour film, and then I have to go to the theater and watch part 2, which is another near 3 hours. So 5 to 6 hours I have to dedicate. I'm sure it's worth it, don't get me wrong. I've wanted to dive into this for a long time, and like I said, it just seems kind of daunting, but damn it, I'm going to do it. So, Dune, what do you guys think about this one? Then we've got Positive Theory, The Legend of Hank. I love animated films that are about animals, especially dogs and cats. Saw the names on here. Michelle Yeoh. God, I love Michelle Yeoh. Who else? Michael Cera, Ricky Gervais, George Takei, Gabriel Iglesias, Samuel L. Jackson. And I thought there was some more names. I could have sworn there was... I don't know. Maybe there are. Those are, I guess, the bigger people. Anyways, I really actually don't know anything about this. Just looked like something I'd want to watch. I don't know if it's any good, but I'm stoked. Then we got Hellfest. Not a movie that I figured needed to be in my collection, but I got it so cheap. I figured why not. I have been wanting to see it. I've heard it's kind of middle of the road, but quite decent and worth watching. So I'll take it. Came out back in not long ago, 2019. Heard it's okay. Kind of your carnival themed slasher. Anyone seen Hellfest? I've heard it's not as good as Haunt, which is another one that came out around this time. That's got kind of a similar story, but I've heard it's done better. But I've heard it's solid. More Nicolas Cage stuff. As you know, or if you don't, I'll tell you, he's been cranking out films like crazy these last 10 years or so, 5-10 years. I mean, he's doing like 10 plus movies a year. So this is just one of the many. Dog Eat Dog. I mean, Nicolas Cage, Willem Dafoe, directed by Paul Schrader. I figured I had to see this. I guess it's like a crime thriller. It can't be awful with those two guys in it, but we'll see. Now we'll get to the Blu-rays. Pretty mighty stack, so I'll move along fairly quick, I guess. I didn't have any interest in seeing this initially when it came out, even though I'm a big Child's Play fan. I don't know. I just didn't have any interest in seeing this, but I've heard it's actually pretty decent. You know, and so if I figured $2, sure, I'll chance it. You got Aubrey Plaza, Chucky this time voiced by Mark Hamill, which, let's be honest, if anyone else is going to voice Chucky, it's got to be Mark Hamill, right? So, I don't know. I'll check it out. Then another movie that I wasn't really too sure if I wanted to see, kind of yes, kind of no. I love the first one in this franchise. Nothing else after that has really done much of anything for me, if anything at all. Insidious, The Red Door, came out last year. Like I said, I love the first Insidious. This time directed by Patrick Wilson, which is cool, and I heard he does a really good job. This is kind of a... the storyline here, I guess, kind of comes full circle, kind of back to the... kind of what was going on with the first one, but I don't know. I've heard it's decent. I've never heard anyone, like, I saw a lot of reviews for this. I've never seen anyone say that it was great, but I've heard that it's okay. Then I just kind of grabbed this randomly. Again, it was, you know, only $2. I didn't really look closely. I thought it was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, which, you know, clearly I didn't look close at all. It's the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Emma Stone, Paul Giamatti. That's cool. I had no interest, and I kind of still don't have any interest in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films, but whatever. I have it now. I'll give it a watch. Another I always have trouble saying his first name, Guillermo del Toro film. Been wanting to see this one for a while and just kind of forgot about it. Nightmare Alley. This is his most recent film. It's got Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett. Yeah, it came out in 2022. Really stoked for this one. Anyway, any of you guys seen it? I guess it's not horror, but knowing Guillermo, it's probably still a dark film. It doesn't have to be horror. That's fine. Anything that he wants to work on, sign me up. I'm interested. Then I got a couple Vestron films, which is cool. I love how Vestron Video is, they've been re-releasing their back catalog on Blu-ray and DVD and stuff. And I like how they number them on the spine. So we got Dream a Little Dream. I think I've heard of this. I'm not sure. I definitely haven't seen it. But yeah, so they're numbering their releases. This is the 25th one, obviously. That's what 25 means. You got the Coreys, Feldman and Haim. You got Piper Laurie, Harry Dean Stanton. I don't know. I think it's a comedy, just from what little I've seen. Cover's cool. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I absolutely love 80s films. I'll watch any 80s film at least once. 1989. So this came out back when I was 7 years old. Then another Vestron film. This one I have seen, not for a long time. Little Monsters. Fred Savage. Remember Fred Savage? Howie Mandel. Who directed this? Richard Allen Greenberg. That name sounds familiar. I don't know. Nothing comes to mind, but yeah, Little Monsters. It's kind of like one of those movies that only could come out in the 80s, kind of like fantasy comedies. And who directed Dream a Little Dream, by the way? Mark Rocco. Another name that sounds familiar, but I can't say for sure if I know who he is. Now here's a film I had zero interest in for some reason. I don't know, maybe I just never saw a review that enticed me, or maybe I didn't like the trailer. I'm not sure. This just wasn't on my radar. And this is a recent one too, 2022, I think. 2022. We got Men. What I probably didn't notice is that it's an A24 film, and yeah, me, A24 fanboy, I gotta see everything that they put out. And also, it's directed, I think written as well by Alex Garland. Did he write it? Written and directed by Alex Garland, who I am a fan of. He directed Annihilation a couple years back, I think 2018 or something like that. I thought Annihilation was a fantastic film. I didn't see Ex Machina. Man, I sure loved Annihilation. So, anyone seen Men? What do you think about it? And then another one that I was only semi-interested in, just came out last year. The trailer, I didn't think the trailer looked good at all. It did not make me want to see it. Last Voyage of the Demeter. It's like a modern Dracula, story, which signed me up all day for Dracula. But like I said, the trailer just didn't entice me. I've heard it's a very kind of a mediocre film, like just kind of middle of the road, good, but not amazing in any stretch of the imagination. I think that just from what I've seen, I think Dracula looks a little bit too CGI for my tastes. From what I've read, it is kind of a combination of practical effects and CGI. I don't know. The stuff that I saw, he looks totally CGI. Maybe I don't know anything about filmmaking. Maybe I'm off, but we'll see. I'm definitely gonna give it a watch. Hopefully, I at least think it's decent. But $2. I had to I had to risk it. Here's the film that I already own on DVD, so I'm sending my DVD copy over to Dave. We got The Cursed. This initially had a title of I think it was called Six for Silver. Pretty good. I like it quite a bit. I don't think it's great or anything, but for what it is, I think it's a really cool kind of period piece werewolf film. Fairly brutal at times. Who directed this? Sean Ellis. This came out back in 2021. I'm a huge werewolf fan, and it was pretty enjoyable. I definitely would like to watch it again, since I've only seen it once. The Cursed. And another film I owned already on DVD, but couldn't pass down a $2 Blu-ray copy. Color Out of Space with, again, Nicolas Cage. Man, he shows up here a lot today, doesn't he? Any of my recent film review was Dream Scenario from last year. This is pretty awesome. I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan. This is, taken from one of his short stories, directed by Richard Stanley. Now, man, here's kind of a sad story. Richard Stanley is an awesome filmmaker. He was pretty much slated to direct a number of H.P. Lovecraft adaptations. But after this was released, something from his personal life surfaced, and he's been accused of spousal abuse. It happened a long time ago. I think it was maybe more than 15 or 20 years ago. It might have been in the 90s. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But still, there are some serious accusations. I'm not going to go into how I feel necessarily about. He's basically been canceled. So I don't think you'll see him doing anything big anytime soon, and it's a bummer. I really wanted to see more of those adaptations from him because he's a fantastic director. Again, the accusations. Is there any proof to it by any means? I guess not. But I mean, I'm not saying that you should just write something off because there's no physical proof. I don't know. It's bad, and it's sad. So. Anyways, still check this movie out if you haven't. If you're an H.P. Lovecraft fan, obviously you probably already have. But if not, this is one of the better Lovecraft adaptations, and it's pretty awesome. And then we got from 2022, I think. 2022. I had no interest in seeing this last night in Soho. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm not an Edgar Wright fan. I actually don't really like his films, to be honest. He's done Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I think it was called. I think those are really good movies, but they're just something about them. They don't work for me. Those are super popular. I mean, Scott Pilgrim's a cult classic. Baby Driver's on its way to being a cult classic. I don't like Edgar Wright's style personally. And since I'm quite the Wes Anderson fanboy, had to get Asteroid City. This is just from last year. Can't wait to watch it. I absolutely can't wait. I have heard that it's kind of a middle-of-the-road Wes Anderson film. I heard it kind of it plays on just too many safe Wes Anderson tropes that you just feel like you're watching kind of a lesser version of the Royal Tenenbaums or something like that. From what I've heard, it's still good, but it just seems a little bit less inspired than some of his great work. Then from 2020, we've got Underwater. Had this on DVD already, but again, couldn't turn down the Blu-ray copy for $2. Kristen Stewart, Vincent Cassel, T.J. Miller. This is kind of also considered a Lovecraft, not adaptation, but a Lovecraft kind of an adjacent film. I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, there's supposed to be some Lovecraft, some of Lovecraft's characters show up in this film. Um, I did watch this once. There are some scenes that I think are pretty cool. Overall, I don't think this is a great film, but it's at least a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It's worth watching. It's kind of a cool underwater creature feature, I would say. It's pretty decent. It is worth your time. It is worth a watch. It falls short of, I think, of what it could and probably should have been. Then we have the last 2 Scream films. Had these on standard DVD already, but whatever. Scream 5 and 6. I need to rewatch both of these. I watched 5 once. I watched these both once. 5 I liked quite a bit. I actually quite enjoyed it. Pissed off that they killed Dewey. I don't think they should have done that. They could have killed anyone else. Dewey, in my opinion, was the best character in the Scream franchise. But whatever. Now 6, I couldn't really get into this one, but I need to rewatch it. I'm sure it's decent. And I thought it was okay. It's not that I thought it was bad. It was probably my least favorite Scream film, but I'm going to give it a second watch, and that could change. It might at least be on par with like 4 or 5. I would hope, but we'll see. Then we got a modern day classic, in my opinion, which is saying a lot considering it is a remake from 2000, if I remember correctly, because I saw this in the theater. This is 2004. I thought it was I guess maybe it was 2004. Yeah, that sounds about right. The Dawn of the Dead remake. This is Zack Snyder's first film. It's just awesome. This is a 4K, by the way. I think it's one of the best remakes ever made. Zack Snyder remade the movie and added some of his own touches to it, and I think it's awesome. One of the best remakes by far. This, a top 5 for me. Even if it wasn't a remake, it's still just a really good movie. I love it. And from last year, Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead is one of my favorite film franchises, and I didn't own this. Why, you might ask? I just don't think it's really that good. It's certainly not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It is good. It's a damn well-made movie. I just don't think it... I don't know. I just had problems with it. Out of all the Evil Dead films, this is by quite a bit, my least favorite. The remake from back in 2010 or something like that, I actually loved that. That's another one of my all-time favorite remakes. Fede Alvarez directed it. I think it's honestly amazing, and this one I just don't. Directed by Lee Cronin, who I think is a fantastic director. I have Lee's first film. It's called A Hole in the Ground. I think it's very good, much better than this. It's not bad. It's definitely worth your time. If you're an Evil Dead fan, I think you have to see it, but I just think it's vastly overrated. And then the last thing I got, not really a franchise that I'd ever really been interested in, but I've never seen any of these, but maybe I'll have fun with them, and I've seen this go for like 30 or 40 bucks. Got the Leprechaun collection, Steelbook. I do like Steelbooks from time to time. So it's got all the Leprechaun films, Leprechaun, Leprechaun 2, 3, 4, which is Leprechaun in Space, Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun Back to the Hood, Leprechaun Origins, and Leprechaun Returns. So, again, yeah, this is a Blu-ray set. Again, I have not seen any of them. I don't know, maybe... I don't think that I'm going to be like a massive fan, but at least if I at least get some enjoyment out of them, then all is good in this world. So anyways, man, that was a lot of stuff, and I have more to show, but I didn't want to include them in this video because this is, like I said, this is a Tales from the Dollar Bin video, and I want to keep those separate. I've been buying a shitload of movies lately, as you can see. That is most of them, but I have another big stack, too, that I'll show at the end of the month. And by the time I get around to showing that, I'll probably have added to that a couple of times. So what do you guys think? See anything here that you like? Do you have any words, anything you'd like to say about any of these? I'd really love to talk to you about any number of things or whatever else you'd like to talk about. I hope you guys are having a good week. I don't know what day this will be posted, but whatever day it is, I hope you're having a really good one. So, as always, thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk soon, huh? Cheers.